Monday, October 1st, 2018. We have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted.
Yes.
Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, number 4, is public appearances, public's opportunity to speak about any subject that's not a specific agenda item. I don't think we have any.
No.
Okay. All right, number 5, discuss and consider the minutes of the regular village board meeting of September 18th, 2018. Any comments, questions, or additions?
I have a few that just those I'll give to Lisa. But on number 8 with the Public Works and Properties Committee, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line down, it's in there about, let's see, Ratcliffe is looking into the county responsibility, and it looks like the grass mowing is the county responsibility, and the nicer additions, we would be the village responsibility. Anybody remember what it might be at?
I think it was supposed to say that the county would be responsible for the mowing, but then the nicer additions, if the village wanted to do that, would be our responsibility.
The nicer additions.
Like tree plantings, I believe.
Oh, like the things for the.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
if there was
Okay.
stamped concrete, I think was discussed at one time possibly.
Yep.
Any of the things that were paid for through the community-sensitive design.
It was interesting, I went on N to Stoughton and looked at their roundabouts, and they have like nothing planted in there. It's just like overgrown with weeds or something, so.
I thought that was supposed to come later, but when I read, when they were
They
done with
just didn't
those,
get to
they
it yet.
didn't get to them yet.
Okay. So it might be next year by now, but yeah.
Might be, but I think that's what I read about those.
Okay.
All right, that was the main
I
thing.
said one thing, adjournment was 9:41 versus 8:41.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Anything else? If not, I'll make a motion to approve with the corrections.
Second.
Okay, motion and second to approve with the corrections from Melissa and John Russell. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Item number 6 is on the agenda. It's a presentation to the board from the Monona Grove School District on the upcoming referendum. I think there's some confusion as to whether they're going to be here or actually in Monona. Sounds like maybe Monona tonight.
Well, they were scheduled for the 15th, or it was requested, but then Katie from the school had contacted me and wanted to change it to tonight at 6:30, but I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, we'll see if they show up. New business number 7, discuss and consider new operator's license for July 2018 to June 2019 for, and I hope I get these names right, Isabella Ruskowski, Susan Offitdahl, Dion Russ, and Ty Annan. Any issues with these folks, Chief?
No.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the operator license for those 4 individuals for July 2018 to June 2019.
Second.
All right, motion and second to approve operators licenses for July 2018 to July 2019 for Isabella Ruskowski, Susan Offitdahl, if I got that right, Dion Russ, and Ty Annan. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Chief, you can tell Dave Stewart's, I like the new format, it's a little easier to follow.
Great.
Okay. All right, motion passes. Number 8 is reports from village boards, commissions, and committees. 8.1 is joint Town of Cottage Grove Board of Supervisors and Village of Cottage Grove Board of Trustees. The agenda is in your packet. For those of you that weren't there, I think probably the first half hour dealt with the dog park, or a little more than half hour. And we decided to, or together we decided to not pursue the dog park at the Nat Big landfill, but I guess we're going to continue to look elsewhere. And a couple other items of interest. They proposed some equipment sharing with Public Works. I think we kind of were under the consensus that that would happen between JJU and their highway superintendent, as you guys saw fit, without us kind of micromanaging it, I guess. There was a request to pursue a 10-year boundary agreement between the two municipalities, and our position is basically we have no interest in that at this point. Anybody want to add anything else to the notes, from the notes?
I can just report that Aaron and I met with some planning staff with the city of Madison. They requested to meet with us. They had met with the town, at least Chris Hampton, and so we can discuss that in the future closed session if you'd like.
Okay.
But it sounds like they, they're not looking to do anything too fast. They're kind of on a holding pattern a little bit with waiting to see who the new mayor will be.
Yeah, Paul Soglin's not running, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Was the contact from Wolf Paving there? And what was the decision for the overage for the?
I don't think there was a representative from Wolf Paving there, but basically, they wanted quite a substantial sum of money above and beyond what they had bid for the contract, and we decided that that is their problem. If they want to pursue it through their own errors and omission insurance, that's fine, but they bid this, and that's what we're going to feel obligated for. We're not going to split it or bargain for more money.
And just so everybody sees it on your, where you're sitting, there should be my memo to the town board with the draft of the driveway easement agreement. That's on their agenda tonight. I told them that our board had approved it in concept. Got a little bit of feedback from Dennis Richardson on the part of the Houstons. There were just some directions that needed to be changed, and I also sent this to the town attorney, who apparently didn't have any comments or questions on it.
Okay. Sounds good. It's good to have that straightened out so we know who owns it and who's sharing it and getting these things over it, I guess. All right, Peer Court Steering Committee. I know Jeff is absent and excused tonight. I don't know if anybody else was
Yeah,
there.
I was
Oh,
there
okay.
half of it. And it's going good like always, nothing much to report,
Okay.
other than we're still, I think, batting 100%, so.
Yeah, I know we're doing well, and it's been an effective program.
And if anybody wants to reach out to Jay Kiefer,
Jay Kiefer,
yeah,
yeah.
he said that he'll gladly give tours to anybody, so.
Good. All right, 8.3, Parks, Rec, and Forestry. Do we have?
Yeah, we discussed a few issues, including taking the land between the industrial park and Quarry Ridge as parkland and making a bike trail, walking trail to, on that point between. There's a 60-foot area that runs the length of that from the road to the edge of the subdivision going east-west. And we like the idea of making that into a trail. It would kind of connect up with a trail that is already being used by lots of people from Johnson Health Tech and the industrial park that walk around the pond. It would just extend that walk and kind of make a bigger walk for them and benefit the residents. I think our conclusion of our discussion is we'd like to get the residents involved so that they know that a trail will go through there. Ideally, that trail would go all the way through to Highway N. The problem is it's very tight between the auto supply place and Landmark. There is not much room between the two, and there is already landscaping there, so that would have to be taken out and the trail put in there. And there's a grade issue too, the steepness. So it would be nice to have it there, but that's a long-range thing. We've got to get through first. The development has to happen, and then we have to take parkland in lieu of money,
Right.
which I think we'd like to do, and that land would be that strip of land between the two. Then we touched on the budget, and then we talked a little bit about the splash pad. Sean showed us some pictures of some possibilities. Looked better than the last ones. So, anything else to add, Sean? Okay.
Aaron, does the park committee have Mike's comments that we were including in the Warrior Ridge agreement with regard to the park? Okay. Mike Maloney looked at the developer agreement for Warrior Ridge, made some comments involving the potential parkland situation. So I'll get those over to the two of you so you can see those as well.
Oh, yeah, I think, Sean, you even shared those, because he gave us a bid, is that regarding the bid on paving that? No, okay, I'm sorry. Because I know Mike's made some comments about that too, sorry. All right, yeah. I mean, we'd like to have it paved, but, yeah, that's a long story, so we spent a lot of time talking about that. Until that's a reality, we'll just leave that in the committee. That's it.
I think the issue is not all of it's in the village.
Right.
Oh, really?
That's-
Not all of that land is in the village? That's hard to believe.
It's a little strip of town by Vinnie's there.
Ah, I
Yeah.
see. So we'd have to go jog and go onto the landmark land.
Something like that, yeah.
Is that-
Or
Well, it's-
find some other
Well,
option.
Vinnie's is almost right next to that lot line anyway.
The land is, it's in the town, but it's zoned as a conservancy district, so I think we'd have to see.
If a path could be run
if
through
it
there.
fits within that zoning.
It's not a big deal. It just seems like a nice thing to do, but
Mm-hmm.
if it can't happen, it can't happen. It's probably too steep anyway.
So you can run down the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Running the other way, maybe.
Yeah, but the problem is you run right down the path and go into the busy road.
Yeah.
I had one question for you, Sean. So I drove by Fireman's Park yesterday, or on Saturday, and saw the new
Yeah, I did
playground.
too.
That's really great.
Yep.
When is the mulch or whatever going in?
It's weather permitting right now. We were supposed to have that installed, the playground installed, the Tuesday and Wednesday after Labor Day. And we all know what happened after that, so we've got pushed back to this point. There's a port-in-place section that needs to go in first, and they were supposed to do that tomorrow. I'm guessing that's not going to happen, so it's just when they can squeeze us in. I'm
Currently,
hoping
it's a
in the
splash
next-
bed right now.
Yeah.
It's almost a pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pool right now, so hopefully in the next week or so.
Okay, great, thanks.
Right, there's nothing else for parks then? 8.4, Deer Grove EMS Commission, a couple of things. The first one, item A, is discuss and consider the 2019 to 2021 collective bargaining agreement between Deer Grove EMS and firefighters local 311. I think that should be attached to your packet here. John, you're on that, and Troy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was approved by the EMS Commission, and it's just out to the different municipalities for approval.
Okay. All right. And there's a budget for 2019.
Budget went through, 4 different rounds.
Okay.
At the last meeting. Came up with a total increase of 4%. The village's share is 4.85. The question was asked no less than 3 times, are there going to be any surprises next year like there have been in the past of this, that, or the other thing failing and needing to be replaced, and they assure us no.
Okay.
Would you agree with that, John, that it was asked by more than just us even?
No, correct.
So,
And they asked if the town would take more share, but they.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
we
our
did.
boundary agreement. Yeah.
so I think it is the smallest increase we've had, though, budget-wise
Okay.
in several years.
Yeah, and that is in spite of the new contract.
Yeah.
Or that considers a new contract. In addition, it includes a small experiment using LTEs to add partial shifts on particular days that the interim chief would like to try to see how that goes. It's initial service to the communities, probably more than likely additional revenue because we'll catch additional runs that maybe we have missed. But most importantly, hopefully for citizens, it's another opportunity to.
Yeah. Does it pay for itself, basically? And then if
Yeah.
it pays for itself, then we selectively start doing it more often.
Yeah. There have been times, and just as an example, a few months ago, I think City of Sun Prairie was in Cottage Grove 3 times during one day because we were out on another call, so we missed the call.
Yeah.
So whoever takes the call obviously is paid, and so.
Equipment line 840, what was the big, or what's in there for the increase this year. No proposed increase.
What was that, Matt?
The equipment line, 840, I was just
Line
wondering,
840?
is there like a big piece
Those
of
are,
equipment
those are
this
the
year?
monitors, I'm sure. Portion of the monitors,
That's the monitors
yeah.
that we already had purchased.
Yeah.
25,000 of that is coming from the donation that was made last year.
The other portion is the,
Oh, the other portion is the
Town
town
of
of Deerfield, the contract, so.
Okay.
and without the monitors, we don't
Yeah.
run.
Did
Right.
we get a donation in this calendar year?
We haven't gotten one yet. There still could be one, though.
Okay,
Usually they do it at the end of the year.
okay.
Yeah.
I think the monitors were split up over 3 months or 6 months or something. I don't
Three
know.
different,
Three payments or,
three different years,
or
right?
3 years, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do
Partial
have
this
them-
year, next year, and then the
Yeah.
final payment is the following year, I believe, in
So
January.
like one monitor per year,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from Deer Grove?
Run rates continue to be up, as well as revenue.
Yeah, the calls are up about 20 over the same month period last year.
Okay. All right.
The LifeQuest contract was approved. Again, the collective bargaining was approved. Hiring process interviews were conducted last Friday and then also tomorrow evening. And the next meeting is on the 18th in Deerfield.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Nagrig landfill.
I guess I'd like to
Okay.
make a
Oh.
motion to approve the
Yeah.
2019 to 21 CBA between Deer Grove EMS and firefighters Local 311.
Okay, any questions on the agreement?
I'll second it first.
Okay, motion and second to approve. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes.
Do we need to do anything with the budget then to approve that?
It says discuss, doesn't say consider.
Right.
It's usually been acted on either at the workshop or after the workshop.
Okay, all
But-
right, all right.
A lot of times the chief comes, I know there's an interim chief and all that. Usually the EMS chief and the fire chief come and present. Are you guys interested in extending that invitation?
I think
to
so,
the
yeah.
interim? Yeah. So try and plan that for the next one.
For the next
Or
meeting
workshop.
or the workshop?
We'll invite them on the 15th.
Okay. All right, 8B, that's discuss, so that's the budget, we'll extend an invitation. All right, 8.5, Nashville Landfill Monitoring Review Committee, anybody, was that Jeff also?
That was last Monday,
Okay, Jeff.
we met, and, so the current landfill testing and monitor results, we actually got the annual copy. I provided a copy to Lisa here at Village Hall. Everything's within historical levels, and obviously this year the water table's up. That doesn't affect any of the emissions that get tested. We also discussed the agreement with Strain Associates for 2019 services. 3% increase for labor, so it's up $550 from 2018 for a total of $19,200. And that's obviously shared with the town. I know some people had seen the DNR inspection, and our representative from Strand said the DNR has been getting around to these types of landfills about once every 10 years. So there was a couple locks that were in need of repair, just due to weatherization. I think the last time anyone can remember, they were replaced for 3 or 4 years ago, and they're the ones along the road, so like salt from the roads and whatnot, and tags and marking. We're going to try a different lock that might be better in the weather, so they're between $30 and $40 for the 3 locks, and the tags and marking. They're going to try to sand in a place where we can use the stickers for like boats that are used to like salt water in outdoor environments. And then it's just the time for the Strand technician to get out there. They're going to look for a nice day in late September, first part, well, I suppose in October now. So, and after that, I'm going to check with Chris to see if I can possibly get a tour, because it's also some of the stacks are maybe at some point need a repair over the next couple of years, just due to wear and tear, so hope to do that with Chris after everything is in compliance. And the next meeting, we switched to November 26th, which is the same as joint fire, because Steve and Chris from the town and Jeff and I are both on joint fire, so we're just gonna have it a half hour before the joint fire meeting.
Oh, sure.
So that makes sense.
John, could,
Yep.
I was driving out one day here and somebody was not just mowing the grass on the landfill, but turning it into those big bundles. And does that actually generate any money or anything? Or, and if so, who gets it?
There's actual bales, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like baling hay. Yeah.
I can certainly check into it.
That might take some toll on your little stacks.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Nope. Okay. All right. 8.6 is
Free hay can buy lock.
Law Enforcement Committee. We met on the 25th. Chief Labor presented his budget. The Law Enforcement Committee unanimously recommended approval to the village board. I'll let the chief go through it, but it sounds like when the give and take was done, I think it was like 1.8% increase or something like that. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
We had wages and benefits went up this year, so in order to keep in line with the administrator's request that we keep our budget increased to 2% or less, we cut some existing accounts, professional services. Leave Boucher? No.
I think overtime was cut pretty substantially.
Yeah. Cut overtime, a few other lines, and,
Yeah.
and basically we got ourselves in at 1.8%. And obviously the danger of cutting areas is next year we might go over, but I think we'll be safe and,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll be able to get by with this budget and keep it in line with the request.
Yeah, I thought it was well presented and well done, very clear. Does anybody else have anything for law enforcement?
No.
Okay. All right, reports from village officers. Troy?
No report.
Jane?
No report.
Jeff obviously has no report. Melissa?
I just wanted to say that the rugby community day on Saturday, I stopped at the beginning, and there were teams playing already, and Jeremy, the president, and I talked some, and it looks like he's trying to change, like, get it going again, not do the same things that the past president had done. And so I think they're headed in the right path, and I think he'll be at the next meeting, he said, so.
Okay.
But yeah, it was
Must
actually
have just missed you. I left, I went there at 12:30 and was leaving at 2:30 and John was arriving. So we had it well represented,
Yeah,
all
there
three
we
of
go,
them.
just
Yeah,
trade
3
it up.
shifts.
Was it busier at that point?
Yeah, there was quite a few people.
It was a nice day for it. I
Yeah,
mean,
beautiful day and some interesting games, and the home team won.
all
So the
right.
Wisconsin, we beat Minneapolis, the Metropolis is the team that we beat. So I didn't stay up till the bitter end. I'm assuming there was no big upset at the
No,
last few minutes.
27-10.
Yeah, they were up by 20-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry to step over your time.
No,
there.
no, I appreciate it. So yeah, that was good. They hope to do more things like that, I think.
It was fun.
All right, John Russell?
No report.
Okay, John Williams?
The only thing to add to the rugby event was that it was nice to see a very large pile of food that was going to the local food pantry. So at that point, so that was nice to see. So
Okay.
beyond that, nothing else.
All right. Under my name, you'll see item appointment of trustee to Deer Grove EMS Commission. I know John had been, he's got some other responsibilities, kids, school, and other committees and everything else. Melissa had been on there, now she's got some additional responsibilities with the county as our supervisor. And I didn't know if anybody else was interested in serving. When are the meetings normally
Thursday,
set?
the third Thursday.
Third Thursday?
At 6:30.
Okay. And they alternate between Deerfield, town, and village?
Yes.
Third Thursday, okay.
No, I understand, Melissa, you're going to follow through until the hiring is done, correct?
On the hiring committee,
Remaining on
yeah.
the committee and stuff, okay.
Yeah, I can stay on the hiring committee, no problem. Those meetings they work between Gary's, Christie's, and my schedules, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tomorrow you'll be there for the interview?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
So that's not the regular scheduled meeting then?
right, correct.
So at this point, we're just planting the seed that we're going to need to find a replacement for Melissa.
Yeah.
Once all those proceedings are over, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And-
the proceedings, I don't necessarily need to stay on Deer Grove EMS, though. I could remain the alternate,
Yeah.
but
We need to find a full-time person.
I don't think it's anywhere that a person from Deer Grove committee is the only one that can be on the hiring committee at this point, since I was appointed.
My understanding in talking to the committee chairperson or the EMS commissioner is that his understanding is you're going to be at all the commission meetings and all of the hiring meetings until that's complete. And if that's not the case, they would have replaced you on the hiring committee.
I indicated to the chair that I would be at all the hiring committee meetings, and when the commission, the Deer Grove EMS met to hire the chief, that I would be at that one.
Okay. But you can't do that every third Thursday on a regular basis, is that?
Correct.
Okay. And again, if somebody wants to look at their schedule, I guess I'm willing to put it as a future agenda item for next meeting, and we do need to decide probably at the next meeting. If nobody is able to do it, I'm happy to do it. I can do it. My schedule, as long as I plan the month out, I can do it.
I'd be interested, but
Okay.
I prefer to take over after Melissa and the hiring process is done, just to make it a clean
Okay.
change. So if you want to add that as a future agenda.
Yeah. Okay. We can put that on for our next meeting if John's interested in doing that and if that works. All right, I had actually nothing else. Lee Boucher?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is I did have a chance to see the tape. It's not basketball season yet, so I can watch other tape. And there was a mention that the emergency government ordinance, our ordinance, had not, I had gotten back to Troy, and actually I had, and I think, I don't know if there was just a miscommunication or what, but this actually leads to a bigger issue, and that is, we try to, as staff, we try to accommodate everybody's requests. And generally, if one of you asks me to do something, I always try to mention it to Matt. But on these larger issues, in particular this emergency government, one of the things that I raised with Troy, and we've talked about this, is I don't think that the emergency government ordinance is realistic, I guess, in terms of if, and let's just assume that there was a big flood in the village. I mean, there's no rivers, so whatever.
We have a creek.
We have a creek, yeah, or one of the water towers blows up. I don't know what it would be, but if at this point, with the way that the ordinance reads, is that the chair of the EMS, the Emergency Government Committee, becomes the person in charge. And so, for example, if that's the town person, then you know, the question is, is a town person going to come into the village and you know, take over if the emergency is in the village? And so I think that this is an ordinance that deserves some attention, but before I charge off to do a lot of research, and it is something that I talked to the town attorney briefly about, and she agreed that it warranted a look. But I don't want to do that without the board giving me approval to do that.
I mean, I think we're probably not the only municipality that shares something like that, so I guess I would like to at least have you research what other municipalities do if they're combined, you know, how they manage it, I guess.
And I'd like to, you know, not that I have any great desire to go to more meetings, but I know you have a meeting on.
I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying?
Desire to go to more meetings?
You know what I'm saying. But you know, I just want to explain that this isn't something I just kind of cooked up, but I mean, if you just read the plain words of the emergency government ordinance, it's one of those things that, and what got me kind of thinking about this was the new chief. I talked to him about this, and I just said, well, what do you think? And he said, well, you know, if I show up at the emergency, I'm taking charge.
The fire chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, okay, yeah, I understand that, but that's not really what our ordinance says. And I just want to, I don't want to be in a situation where somebody shows up who happens to have read the ordinance and saying, hey, you know, this isn't how things are supposed to go. So, so this is what I offer to the board is, let's look at this, and that's why I gave you a copy. This is what I had gone over very generally with Troy, and I tried to highlight the areas that I had some questions about. Was it inconsistent with the code? Because I don't want to be in a situation where there is an emergency and we have some question of who's in charge.
Right. I guess,
Well, I'll go back to your example of the fire chief being in charge. He's really not in charge. All we're there is to facilitate what they need on a scene, whether that involves purchases of things, and as long as we're okay with, in line with the state statutes when it comes to purchasing and that kind of thing, I can relay that on Wednesday evening at the meeting.
And in our ordinance, it says that the village is supposed to appoint a director of emergency government. We don't have a director of emergency government. And do we want to keep that language in there, or do we want to take that language out? Do we want to specify what Troy is saying, which is emergency government will serve in a advisory capacity, or something like that, as far as when there are disasters. So that's what I'm asking, and from a staff point of view, I just want to make sure that I get a clear direction, so I'm not charging off doing something that you don't want me to do.
I mean, I think it's worth looking into it, just to make sure we're, like Lee said, we got the right person. I guess I'm thinking of a more spokesperson role. I mean, if it happens in the village, you want a village person speaking. If it happens in town, you want media, whatever. Fire chief's going to be operational. He's a national incident management person, so he's not going to be able to talk to the media. He's going to be doing it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, and it makes sense if it happens in the town, let them speak to the media.
And vice versa, and I'm not sure why the town would feel like they would want to try to control something that's happening in the village. We're there to cooperate.
Actually, that's what the ordinance says. I mean, if I don't know who's the chair right now.
Mike Bonger's the
Okay,
chair.
so Fonger says, you know what, I was reading the ordinances last night, and there's a disaster in the village, and I'm coming over and taking charge. Well, I guess given his military background, that might not be the worst choice in the world, but I'm not sure that the village, I hate to say the village people, but the village personnel may say, well, why is he giving us orders, or why is he in command? So again, this is more of a cleanup, or this is, how do you want this to read, and how do you want it to be implemented?
I guess I'd want to see other examples,
Yeah.
to Jack's point. And you already noted here that we have an incorrect reference to state statutes. So on the first page, it definitely warrants getting cleaned up. And it should be clear that we're supportive of whether it's fire, EMS, or whatever the emergency organization that's actually getting the work taken care of. That's our role.
Well, I spent a little time last week in my, I represent a different entity out in Middleton, and I was talking to their administrator, and because the damage out there was really, really substantial with flooding, and they've gone through these issues, and I've talked to the administrator, or called the administrator in Pittsburgh, just because our office is out there, looking to see if there are any disasters that you could talk about. And I just want us to be consistent, and that there not be any loose ends here.
I mean, I don't know, how you think 2-4 hours of time? I don't know how long you think, but I'd like to see, like I said, some other examples so we know if you can at least go that far with us and maybe report at the next meeting and.
Okay.
So then does the town take this and craft their ordinance by it, or?
They've gone through their ordinances, we're done with that last year, and made sure that all of their ordinances coincided with the state statutes. They supply us with a copy of those. So their attorney went through.
And now I've talked to her about, in relation to the driveway access easement, and I told her, well, this is what I was doing, and she says, well, you know, I'd be interested in seeing that, because it does seem to be somewhat inconsistent, but, you know,
Yeah.
I need to get, she needs to get permission from the town to do any more on it either, so.
Okay.
So do we need a motion then to direct staff?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to direct legal staff to at least research as to the extent of what other municipalities do and report back at the next meeting and see if we want to delve any further, I guess.
Okay.
into that.
Troy, will you,
Second.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
would you just pass that on to people on Wednesday night?
Yeah, that's no problem. I made copies of this also, Lee, so I can pass those on once you know.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to have Lee look into this and report back on at least the joint entity part of the government and see where we want to go further from there. Any other discussion?
Just one point of
Yep.
clarity, I mean, do we want Lee to focus on like joint emergency government where there's, or just like a Fitchburg or a Middleton? We want to take a look at where there's like a village and a town.
Yeah, if you can find more similar
Yeah,
entities.
I don't wanna just look at their, at ones that aren't,
Yeah.
joint, right?
You want to look at the stuff that could be dicey.
Yep.
All right. So with a motion and a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passes.
I think part of the concept behind the Emergency Government Committee is, in the event of an emergency, is that the town chairperson, village president is going to be present to help run those situations, and even though the town chair isn't on the committee, he's at the meeting, so he knows what's going on and that sort of thing.
To me, this almost seems like more of a mutual aid agreement than an emergency government agreement, but,
You know,
it's kind of the same thing, I guess, but.
It just, you know, and that way you've got the two folks that are, you know, running each community,
Right.
and, you know, I don't think you guys will need to take it out in the parking lot and solve it or anything, but, you know, again, if it's a town thing, I think would be handled by the town. If it's a village
Yeah.
thing, you know, we're just there to assist emergency responders in their
Yeah.
needs. So,
And even if the ordinance said what you just said, if it happens in the town person would be the,
and really the key is tracking expenses, so that if it's a natural disaster or if it's caused by a business, that those expenses get transferred to the, wherever the parties are involved with that.
yeah.
And I know, Matt, you've been through it before, so.
And I took the state and counties training on that system that tracks, they have a new system that
Yeah.
tracks the.
It's a web-based,
Yeah, Web EOC?
yeah, that's it,
Yep.
yeah. Okay. All right, anything else, Lee?
No.
Okay. All right, Matt?
Received a letter from the Municipal Treasurers Association of Wisconsin recognizing Deb Winter as, she's a credentialed treasurer now, certified municipal treasurer of Wisconsin. And and it's not something that everyone receives. There's 500 members of this association, and only 52 are credentialed, so it's impressive to achieve that, so.
Should we add her to the list of reports from village officers?
Now we can.
All right, excellent.
In front of you guys tonight was an updated, some updated marketing materials, and tomorrow Aaron is meeting with the chamber to discuss a branding study and how to incorporate some of that into these materials. But a lot of that information is already in here, but I'm sure we can, bolster it some more. JJ and I heard from a bunch of great speakers at a conference last week, and one in particular I wanted to share with you guys. Kind of interesting. The speaker started out talking about bamboo, particularly this giant timber bamboo, and I'll get to the point of this, but we were both probably wondering the same thing, why is he talking about bamboo? Well, in the first year, when you plant this bamboo seed, and you water it every day for a year, and at the end of that year, there's nothing. You do that same thing another 365 days, year 2, nothing, year 3, nothing. Year 4, in about 3 months, it goes up 90 feet. And it was just like an analogy to, you know, when you're really working on things like economic development or other things that take a lot of time, you know, you don't always see the fruits of the labor right away. And, you know, so when you're hearing from people that, you know, they want something faster or that, you know, over time you just have to keep working on it, because what's going on all those years was it was laying the roots. The roots go down 100 yards into the ground. So all those years of watering. So it's kind of just keeping up with that. So I think it was, you know, good metaphors. And anyway, and then last but not least, I won't be here at the next meeting. So hopefully I can be excused, but it's for a honeymoon. So.
Hey.
Congratulations. But I won't miss
checking
any
the contract.
I guess you're not available by cell phone.
Right. But I won't miss, there's aren't any other meetings that I'll be missing during that time period.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, certainly keep in touch if there's anything we can help with.
Yeah.
All right.
Just one thing, Jack, with this, if we could actually change the name of the Godorsey building to, I don't know if it's Silver Badger or whatever. I mean, there's signs saying for lease or for rent, because it's no longer Godorsey. I think I saw it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Those get updated pretty often.
Yep, thanks.
And we're very close to having that agreement done.
Oh, good. I see there's dumpster outside too, so we're working on
Yep.
All right. Aaron? Okay, Chief Labor, anything else?
Nothing.
All right. JJ?
No report?
No flooding? No, nothing?
No light poles?
No more light poles?
Still in progress. Yeah, we're hydro flushing now, so if you notice any water consolidation, any cold water flow runs through. Tell your neighbors.
All right. Sean, anything from Park?
Just wanted to thank Cottage Grove Brownie Troop 2456 as they donated and planted a tree at Houston Park in the last couple of weeks.
Nice.
Good. Awesome. Very good. All right. Communication and miscellaneous vouchers. Consider approval of vouchers. Any comments, questions, additions to those?
Is the Briar Patch Youth Services for the 2018 Youth Peer Court, is that the amount that we pay annually?
I think that's a pretty standard
Yeah,
set
is it,
amount.
what page is that on?
6,000?
Yeah. What page is that on?
Yeah.
4? No, 2.
And then we'll have another contract for the coming year before the board, before the end of the year. Is that full?
And it's been that amount
Quite well.
as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty decent.
Yeah,
It's good service.
it is, yeah. Any other questions on vouchers?
And then on page 3 for Andrew Day for the Adobe Creative Cloud software, I'm just guessing that's an upgrade of sorts or something.
It's the annual software maintenance and licensing fee. He paid for it with his credit card, so it's reimbursement to him. It's the software they use for the.
Right. Video.
Okay,
That's all.
all right. If not, I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented. Okay, motion and a second to approve as presented. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Correspondence, I'm not sure of the implications of this. There was a letter in my mail from the governor about a transportation alternative project that has been approved for the Glacial Drumlin Path to the tune of $550,000. Not anything that's going to happen overnight, but that's about all I have.
Jack, a couple of things on our correspondence. If you haven't received anything yet, the regional census offices are going to start reaching out, and they'll want a liaison person on staff. And I talked to Aaron, and he'd probably be the best point of contact,
Sure.
you know, with their comp plan and things like that. But they'll probably want a letter from you, so I can put that together
Yeah, that would be fine. I know a census person already stopped at our house and she asked a lot of questions, like school district, crime rate, just a lot of stuff that I think she could get pretty much in a heartbeat from Aaron.
And then Lisa, at one point, I know the school board through emails was mentioning 7:30. Do you think they're crossed up with the time? I'm just wondering, we're only, not that we want to sit around for maybe 15 minutes.
I talked to
but-
Dan Olson at 4:30 once I was able to read through the packet, and he had agreed on October 15th, and I wouldn't imagine he wouldn't be here because they're presenting the Monona City Council's actually.
Their communications person was, they specifically asked to be put on tonight,
Okay.
on Friday.
That
Yeah.
sounded like miscommunication.
There shouldn't be, there shouldn't be miscommunication, it's all in the emails.
Okay, well, we can certainly leave them on for next agenda too. I mean, that's-
Okay.
If they show up, we'll listen.
And I guess if they want a later time, we can ask if they want to go later in the agenda, whatever, whatever is fine.
There shouldn't be a problem at the next meeting. We were just concerned about 7:30, 7:45 given this agenda because there was no guarantee that it would last that long.
Right. Okay. That brings us down to upcoming community events. Anybody have anything that's happening in the near future? Christmas in the Grove, but that's a few months, a couple months yet at least.
It's homecoming week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Future agenda items. Lee, do you think the next village board meeting is soon enough to report on the government agreement? Okay.
We can have an update on the meeting rooms and posting that on the website. Lisa started calling around and, for example, Wisconsin Bank and Trust did not want to be, they didn't want us advertising their space. So, but anyway, we'll have a report back on that.
Okay. Anything else
I
for
think we also
future?
have the school board
Yep.
interim EMS chief to talk about budget, and
Right.
then the rugby president. That's what I put down.
Oh, yeah, the rugby, yep. Is that it? Anybody else? Okay.
As part of your packet, I'll have the complete agreement and exhibits of the rugby agreement as it currently stands, so that you have a chance to, as he's talking about things, you can understand what that's all about.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. Number 11, at this time, I'll make a motion that the Village of Cottage Grove.
We don't need to.
Oh, we're not going to do that?
No, we keep that back to us, so
Oh,
we'll talk about it next time.
well, that's awesome. That brings us, I guess, down to number 13.
I move to adjourn.
All right. Motion and second to adjourn, non-debatable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.